Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we are going to be talking about the one and only ZBEC network coin. Okay. I know some people have their concerns and questions because I know there has been a good amount of you that haven't sold near the top and are currently, either dollar cost averaging, being patient. But I know a lot of you are starting to stress out a little bit, right? Because the thing is, right? The thing is, uh, and I mean it's the most respectful way, a lot of people just simply don't understand the markets work. So when they see their coin just trending downwards, they might not understand why, right? They might start getting stressed out, right? If you invested, let's say where we invested, right, in the private community, right over here, and you say invest $1,000, right? And then you saw where we kind of got out. Boom. Let's say we got out literally 3.5x. That's where I called it, right? So if you saw you go from $1,000 to 3,500, okay, and then a few weeks later, you're still holding, but now you're at 1,700. Those thoughts are going to start creeping into your mind because it's just that's just how we are, right? The thing is like, oh, did I make a mistake? Should I just get the profits now? you know you might start overthinking, but this is why I created this channel, right? I created this channel to help people like yourself. It's also why I opened up the Discord. There's the free version where anyone can join. First link in the description. And of course, we still, yes, have a private community where you do get more advanced information, more up to date information, portfolio reviews, and you also get a bunch of educational videos to help you learn and ease your mind even more. But of course, that is a paid option, which, not everyone wants to do, and that's okay. But the point here is that we created this channel to ultimately help people. So let's break down Zebec on why this why this project is dropping in price. Is it the project itself? Is it a dead coin? What is it? And for me, it's actually a very, very simple answer. We know that this coin was accumulating for almost a year, right? Almost a year is going sideways. Then something happened, right? There was a lot of news surrounding this coin. And then in terms of technical analysis, we saw the best weekly close we ever saw for this coin at the end of April, right? It was the strongest weekly close ever. Boom. Then we saw a little bit of a sell off, a little bit, kind of resistance. But overall, we knew that there's going to be a pullback just so it retests ultimately off of this area so it can pump higher, which is why we entered, right? We entered on the 10th. We entered on this May sell candle. Was it the literal most perfect entry? No, but it was a great, fantastic entry, and that's all that matters. That's all you need in this industry was great, right? We got in, great. We sold, great, right? Can't be nitpicky about that extra 5, 10, 20%. It was fantastic. So that happened, right? We saw huge pumps over the next 2 weeks. And then we called reversals because in the charts, it was already indicating that price action was getting weaker and weaker. And we can see eventually we broke structure, right? We broke this structure and then we sold off. And we can see on something even like the 4-hour time frame, we talked about this before, there were zero, and I mean zero confirmations that this price was going to recover, right? And the reason why I drop these red lines, if I get rid of the wicks, right, we can see we have a high, we have a lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, right? Every time price tried to pull up, it failed to close higher, which showed weaknesses, right? It showed weaknesses, okay? And we talked about this, right? We talked about this. We talked about, people's concerns. Is there any confirmation for price to be going up? And there wasn't. And there wasn't. We talked about how there is also a support over here, but we knew it's not going to be, respected for a very, very long time. Because reality, ladies and gentlemen, other than very high time frame, in general, support resistance does not simply get respected that much nowadays. Sure, maybe off its initial tap or its second tap, it will. But in the bigger picture, it still didn't, right? We can see, even though we had a nice pump on Monday, the other days were so weak that the only buy candle was the weakest of weak candles, and it showed reversal signs, right? It showed its continuation to the downside, which is still what we expected, right? Especially when the weekly closed like that. So now when we go back to the daily, we can see, even though the selling pressure is slowly getting smaller, it's still continuing to march to the downside. It's still doing something extremely similar to what it did back in February to roughly the March time, where it just slowly but surely going down. Then it had like a 1 or 2 days of decent sell off, and then it went from selling to sideways, which is what we're looking next for this coin. As of right now, we are still going down. We can see we are just in this very aggressive trend in this channel. So, we're looking for price to continue to go lower, right? We're going to be looking to be sniping entries. And, what we're looking for after that is for price to start going sideways. Because this is how it works, people, right? This is just very general basic knowledge, right? Something usually starts selling off and then eventually it starts kind of going sideways and it starts getting that confirmation of it starting to reverse. And usually, it's in this area, this area, this area, this area, and this area where you really want to be sniping in those entries, getting that nice dollar cost average, right? For me, you can buy, or even if you bought at the top right now for this coin, I'm still optimistic for you, right? Obviously, your mindset and everything else might take a little bit of a hit, right? It might take a little bit of a hit because, ladies and gentlemen, you see the price and your profits going lower and lower. But we know and we predict that this coin will do wonders this cycle, right? I do believe like 10 billion market cap should be more than easy for this coin. And where are we at right now, right? 263 million. So practically a 40x, not quite. It's technically like 38, 37.5x, whatever, but practically expect a 40x from this current price, right? I really, really do. So if we were to hypothetically 40x, right, that would be roughly around 12 cents. That 10 to 12 cent mark is my prime optimal zone that I'm looking for. Now, of course, if there's going to be next changing news surrounding this coin, if there's going to be zero momentum, any zero signs of any momentum slowing down when things are going to be peaking, and they just continue to smash 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents, and I'm not selling, right? Because I only look at the data, I only look at technical analysis, and that's how I make my decisions. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to do something like myself, then I highly recommend joining the private community. You'll get educated, you'll understand more, you'll get up-to-date charts, and you'll feel much better in these markets, and you'll also be way more independent, which ultimately is the goal. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.